we gotta have that end times movie type of faith. Hey, what's up? It's Patrick. It shows via fire, and I pray this message reaches who it needs to reach. So let's talk about we gotta have that end times movie type of faith. You know what I'm saying? So like in the end times movies, to whereas, you know what I'm saying, like the resources like such as water, food, and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like like in those particular certain end times movies, to whereas the resources such as water, food is kind of like rare. It's like scarce. Is that how you say it? It's like they pretty much rare. You know what I'm saying? Like food is rare, water is rare. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot going on in the end times movie, and I feel like we need that type of faith, man. Like we need that end times movie type of faith, because we are living in a times to whereas the wicked systems and the wicked governments and all this stuff, bro, they making like some crazy laws back to back. The cost of living and all types of stuff, it's just, everything is just a mess. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff is just ridiculous. It's like, like in those end times movies, right? Whereas the food and the water is scarce, is rare. That's the type of faith that we need, because we gonna need God to provide for us, man. And look though, here's the thing. We ain't just gonna need God to provide for us one time. Nah. We gonna need God to provide for us consistently, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it. Let's say you in a land where water is rare, food is rare, any type of resource is rare. Like, you know, the whole world is just going through all type of stuff, right? You need God to be consistent when it comes to the provision area of your life. Basically, what I mean is you need God to be consistent when it comes to providing for you, because everything is rare already. Everything is already rare. Everything is already scarce. There's a scarcity of the city in the mountain. You know what I'm saying? So if everything is scarce and everything is rare and everything is nowhere to be found, you're gonna need God to really provide for you consistently, bro. Back to back to back. You're gonna need that consistency, bro. Like, you're gonna need God to provide for you consistently, bruh. Not just one time, not just 2 times, consistently. And if God don't provide for you consistently, you're cooked. So it's like, that's why I'm saying, like, we're gonna need that type of faith, to whereas we believe that God is gonna provide for us. We believe that God is gonna make a way over and over and over, back to back. You know what I'm saying? Back to back. You know? And one thing that I realized and I noticed about God is that God is very much so capable of being consistent. If you are really like a person out there and you're loyal to God and you following his plan for your life, God is very much so consistent. He could provide for you consistently, bro, because you are loyal to him. So he gonna return the favor. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like the end times movie type of faith, we're gonna need that. Sometimes, bro, you're gonna have to treat your house and your home like it's an end times movie type of home. You're gonna have to pray over your home. You know what I'm saying? This is like a mindset that I'm putting out there, bro. Like, you may have to treat your home like it's an end times movie type of home. So whereas you gotta pray over your home, you gotta have that end times movie type of faith. Cause look, we already in the end times anyways. The only difference is we may not be on a TV screen in a movie, but we in the end times already, bruh. So by us being in the end times, we already living in the end times movie type of faith that you need. You already see what's going on. We already living in those times where you need that type of faith, to whereas God is going to provide for you over and over and over consistently. And then there's this mindset that I noticed, whereas when God provides for me sometimes, I kind of feel guilty. I'm like, man, God already done so much for me. You know, you ever feel guilty to whereas you're gonna need God's help again, and God already just helped you 2 business days ago, but you still gonna need him to help you again the next day, and you kind of feel guilty. You'll be like, man, you already helped me, Lord. You already helped me yesterday, and I need you again, though. Hey, bruh, Know what I'm saying? Don't even feel guilty, bro, because God is a provider, man. Because sometimes you're not even trying to use God, bro. Like, it's just life, man. Life is life, you know what I'm saying? But let me look at my notes real quick, and I'm gonna add on to the message. So let's see. Suppliers are dependent on. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to say, man. Like, we gonna need that end times movie type of faith, bruh. Know what I'm saying? Like when the main character and like, let's say like it's an end times movie where the resources is rare and it's scarce, right? The food, the water, everything is rare. Let's say it's an end times movie like that. The main character, let's say the main character believes in God and they praying to God to provide. Even in these times where everything is rare, you know what I'm saying? And God still find a way to provide. Think about it. Water is rare, food is rare, but somehow God is providing. But you gotta understand, God has to be consistent to provide, because if He's not consistent, you're not gonna live too long, bro. You're gonna die, because you're gonna need that water. You're gonna need that food, bro. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna need that end times movie type of faith. And sometimes you gotta already treat your home like you're already living in the end times. You gotta pray over your home. You gotta anoint your home with anointing oil. You gotta plead the blood of Jesus over your home. You gotta treat this stuff like it's an end times movie. Because look, we already in the end times. And life is a movie, and we already in the end times. Literally, it's a perfect match. It's like 100% a perfect match. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say, bro. As you know what I'm saying, you got some people out there, they could be working 2-3 jobs, they could still barely get by. You got all type of stuff going on. There's so many things that's holding them back. It could be like these crooked hospital charges or bills or any type of weird bills that be going on, the scams of, you know what I'm saying, all type of scams in these hospitals. It could be anything could be the reason why people is working so many jobs and they could barely stay afloat. Anything could be the reason. You know what I'm saying? Somebody they love, a loved one could be in the hospital and they have like this bill and the insurance is like, we ain't even trying to hear that. So now somebody got to come up with all these ridiculous amounts of money. It's like you got to be a millionaire just to stay alive. Know what I'm saying? And then even when you die, it's like, even when a person dies, it's like you got to pay just to die. Because you got to pay for the funeral and all type of stuff. And then they raising the rent prices and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. We're going to need that end times movie type of faith. We're going to have to believe that God going to provide over and over and over consistently, bro. Not just one time. We're going to need to believe that God going to provide today, tomorrow, yesterday, and the next day. You know what I'm saying? We're going to need that end times movie type of faith, bro. I'm trying to tell you. That's how we going to elevate through this stuff. That's how we going to make it. Bro, you could do all you want, bro. Like, man, you could do whatever you want. But if you don't have God's favor over your life and God's provision over your life, you know what I'm saying? You could save up for 3 years straight. And by the way this system, you could save up money for 3 years straight. And the way that this system is set up, they're going to hit you with all type of bills. Anything could happen, any emergency. Your whole savings is gone. Overnight, it's gone. It's out of here. All type of weird laws, the bills, and all type of scams that the systems of this world be just putting in place. All that stuff gone. So now what you going to do? See, now you're going to have to depend on God's provision power for real. Now you're going to have that trust in God. Now you're going to have to really you really going to need God now. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have God, it's over with, bro. That's the time. We living in the times to whereas if you don't have God and you don't have God's favor over your life, you're done. Let me repeat that one more time. We are living in the times to whereas if you don't have God's favor over your life, you're done. It don't matter how much money you saved up in your bank account. It don't matter how much you feel like you are secure and safe. We are living in the times, bruh. If you don't have God's favor over your life, you're cooked. In every single way, bruh. There's no way around it, bruh. But yeah, that's just the end times that we're living in, bruh. And I just wanted to do this message to encourage the right people out there, man. So yeah, that's basically everything I wanted to say, bruh. Peace.